So do not become a teacher until you watch this video from beginning to end, because I'm going to drop some real knowledge, real talk, real tea about teaching and what it can bring. I even wrote down my pointers in a journal, so I'm making sure I'm telling you, the right stuff and just from my opinion. And again, this is my opinion. This is from what I've seen, I've observed, or from what I've heard from other colleagues about teaching in the field of education. But before we get started into the pointers, I will say, if you don't know, I am a teacher. I am a second grade math and science teacher. I've only been teaching for 2 years, but I feel like I've grown and I've learned so much about teaching, about kids, about the field of education in a matter of 2 years. So again, I'm fairly new into the education system with teaching. So some of the things I may say, maybe my opinion will change in a couple of years. Who knows? But again, this is my opinion, how I feel. Some people may disagree, and that's okay. It's okay to disagree with someone's opinion, long as you are respectful about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Number one, you do not have contract hours. Okay, I don't. How do I put it? You have contract hours. Everyone has contract hours, right? But in teaching, you really don't have contract hours. Like, for instance, right now, my contract hours are from 7:45 to 3 o'clock. I don't get to school at 7:45. Sometimes I get to school at 7. Sometimes I get to school at 7:15. And it's not like I'm just lollygagging and talking with coworkers. No, I'm making sure I have my copies or my pencils sharpened. Do I have tissue? Germex is my objective. Is my teak on the board? Do I have enough copies? I'm making sure I'm ready for the day. And that's not a part of my contract hours. That's me making sure I'm prepared for the day in the morning. Just as the afternoon. After kids dismiss, yeah, you're able to go home and, do whatever you need to do. But some teachers, they stay after a little bit to make sure that they're ready for the next day. So long story short, every day you're not working contract hours. There are some teachers that do. And bravo and kudos to them. 85% of the time, I'm working contract hours. But there are some days where I do like to come in a little bit early or stay a little bit later just to make sure that I'm prepared and I'm ready for the next day. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If you're someone that's really strict about your time, it's okay to be strict about your time, But there's going to be days where you may have to stay a little bit late. You may have to come in a little bit early. And technically, that's not a part of your contract hours. It just is what it is. So that's something to keep in mind. Again, these are things not to deter people from teaching, because we need teachers. We need good quality teachers, okay? In all states and all grade levels, but whatever. Number two, I don't know why people talk about this and they're so what's the word? In a jealousy type of way. But we don't have summers off. I don't know why people think that teachers, we're just at the beach all summer or we're traveling. Some of us do, but in reality, we do not have that last day of school to first day of school summer like the kids do. We do not have our summers off. If you are teaching summer school, you don't have your summer off. If you are attending PDs, which is, why am I forgetting what professional development? If you have PDs, you do not have summer off. If you are attending conferences and conventions, you do not have your summers off. You don't. And here's the reality of it. The 2 weeks leading up to school, you are in PDs. You are in back to school trainings, okay? You're on your campus fixing your classroom. You're on your campus looking through the curriculum. You do not have your summer off. You may have a couple of days in between where, just kind of chilling, but overall, you don't have your summer off. You really don't. Not like the kids do, but hey, that's just part of the job. Number 3, you will be wearing multiple hats. And what I mean by that is, do not expect to just walk into a school, teach your kids, and go home. It's just not reality. Like, you could probably be somebody's mom. You could probably be someone's dad, a counselor, a nurse, a police officer, a therapist. Like, you wear multiple hats with your students and with the people that you meet. Like, it's not like you just go in, you teach your lesson, and you go home. Like, no, you're correcting behaviors. You're probably helping out another teacher with something. You're doing multiple things besides teaching. And there's going to be some days where you do everything but teach. Okay, especially with behaviors and meltdowns, and if the Wi-Fi crashes in the school, if the lights go out, which has happened so many times, like, you're doing everything but teaching. And that's just the reality of it. I mean, yeah, you wear multiple hats, so you definitely got to be ready for that. Number 4, this didn't really happen to me, but it's something that I've heard and I've noticed in a lot of other teachers, is being a teacher can decrease your social life. And I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, because every day is not the same teaching. Some days are boring. Some days are hectic. Some days are annoying and irritating. Some days you want to throw in the towel and just be over it, And that can really drain you physically and mentally. So sometimes, you're just like, oh, I just want to go home and just be alone, lay on my couch, watch Netflix or whatever. And it can kind of like push you away from like your friends and your family and everything. So sometimes teaching can decrease your social life. But I have a lot of teacher friends who, they go out every Wednesday, or they go out for happy hour, or every 2 weeks they take a vacation with their spouse or something. So it just kind of like depends on who you are as a person, and also the environment that you work in. And last, but I feel like this is probably the most important one, administration can make you or break you. I'll say it again. Administration can make you or break you, right? Administration, to me, the job of administration is to make sure that the school functions the way it needs to function. And that includes staff and students. It is very important to have admin that want to back you up, that want to support you in your educational journey, that want to see your kids grow and achieve and reach high standards. But when you have admin that don't want that, and they're just there to collect a paycheck, or they're just there because they have one more year of retirement, it's going to show, and you're going to feel it. Now, I have been lucky and blessed to have amazing admin at my school. Literally, I felt very comfortable going to my principal and my assistant principal with anything I needed, whether it was face-to-face or email or a text message. I felt very comfortable. But I do know there are people at different schools and different school districts that they are scared of their admin. They are scared that they're going to talk down on them, or they're going to make them feel, like they don't know what they're doing. And long story short, it's just important that your school has great admin, okay? Admin that are going to support you. They're going to back you up when things get tough. They're going to, fairly do observations on you and critique, like give you that constructive criticism that you may need, because there's nothing worse than presenting a lesson and you read your observations and you're like, was I really that bad? Like, was I really like off the charts like that? And then, you know, when you ask for a constructive criticism, it's just criticism, but it's not constructive. You know what I mean? So definitely admin can either make you have a great year or make you have a terrible year. And you know, it's not always up to admin. It can also be up to the teacher, you. Like, if you want to have a good year, if you want to have a good day, you're going to make it happen, you know? Also, I should have put this on here, but just a little bit extra. Do not rely on well, I don't want to say do not rely, but at the end of the day, your student success, it ultimately falls on you. It falls on the parents as well, because learning starts at home, period, you know? But at the end of the day, like, you need to make sure that you get your students to where they need to be. You cannot rely on your co-teacher to make sure your students are learning. You cannot rely on admin to make sure your students are learning. If you need help with lessons, if you need help with figuring out a new way to present something, like, it's your job to speak up about it. And that's something I had to learn the hard way when I first got started teaching. Just speaking up and saying like, hey, like, I need help with this, I need help with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with needing help and asking for help, for sure. But that is all I have right now. Again, this is just my opinion. It's just what I think are some very important things to know before going into the field of teaching. These are some things I wish I would have known. But again, everyone's experience is different. My experience may be nothing like yours, or someone else's experience may be nothing like yours. But definitely, in the long run, you definitely have to have a heart for kids. If you do not have a heart for kids and their education, then you most likely will not like teaching. I like teaching because, one, I love kids, love being around kids. And two, I've always liked school. Like, I was that girl that was excited to go to school because I love just learning more, and I had really cool teachers as well. So yeah, I hope those tips helped you out in your decision or your journey of being a teacher. And if you are a teacher, feel free to drop down some extra advice or extra comments that I may or may have missed. So thank you guys for watching.